Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Flux Motorsport TV. I'm Murphy GBR, going to be bringing you round 4, the halfway point of the Flux Motorsport Touring Car Championship. And for those of you that don't quite recognise that rather blurry backdrop as we come out of the end of our practice session, we are heading, or currently arrived, should I say, at the Silverstone National Circuit. Very, very tricky one this week, and it's a love it or hate it kind of track. Much different to what we've had so far in the season. However, we have got lovely clear skies with just a hint of cloud over Silverstone today, so it should be a rather uneventful race weather-wise. But these 6 corners of the National Circuit will be pretty troublesome for all of our field. So here is going to be your grid for tonight's 4th race at the Silverstone National. Pro Fubby tops it out with pole position, followed by Lecky in his first front row of the season, I believe. He starts up in 2nd place with the console running in 3rd, with Wadge just behind him in 4th position. Spankmeyer onto the 3rd row with Kovkal for company, followed by Al Axon in 7th place with M. Ward popping in for 8th. Jack de Menzies in 9th position. That's, I think, the worst qualifying that we've seen from Jack so far this season. He's got a BMW to contend with as well off the line in the form of DJ Leggy. He starts up in 10th. 74 Leggy in 11th place with Casey Redwood in 12th, followed by Old Smoky and Green Gaming with Deadly Hawks BMW at the back of the pack. It's going to be all to gain in turn 1. I bet those guys on the front 3 rows are glad that there's no BMWs, but here are the lights. And away they go. Looks to be a good start from the front 2. This camera angle doesn't give me much to go off, but it looks as though Lecky's actually motored into 1st position really well, coming up into Cops. So good move from him. He's automatically gained 3/10 as well, as we see most drivers getting through cleanly. Yep, does look as though all of them through, and what a great angle that is. That shows how close it is as they come through Aintree into Maggots. All drivers do look as though they're still away and together. We can just see Deadly Hawks BMW coming out the back there. So Lecky is built upon a great start here. Almost got half a second to Pro Fubby at the moment. Pro Fubby under pressure from the console, and Wadge left and right of him at the moment. Come through the final corner for the first time, and Lecky leads to Pro Fubby with the console all over the back of Pro Fubby at the moment. Let's jump on the cockpit of Wadge and have a look as we come through Cops. You can see the effects of the drag there. Looks as though Wadge has just lost out on a little bit of momentum onto the straight. In fact, he's lost out a little bit more momentum there, gaining very sideways. And that's going to see him slip away from the back of Pro Fubby and the console a little bit. Put him into the grips of Spankmeyer and Wardy. You can see those two running those 2 SRT Motorsports right behind one another. It looks as though Wardy now is almost going to pick his pocket on the braking into Brooklands. Has got that done indeed, and they come together actually. Bit of a mistake there from Wadge. Just didn't notice that Wardy was up the inside, and mistake from him. Wardy gets the better of it. Wadge looks as though he takes that position back momentarily. Is he going to hold it through Woodcote? See the experience of Wardy there. He actually made sure that he stuck to quite a deep line to try and hold up as much of that momentum as possible, but he's now under pressure from Kovkal. Kovkal wants to go bumper to bumper, and Jack de Menzies is waiting in the wing, as well as Al Axon. So this is what I mean in the qualifying. Any sort of mistake and you're going to find yourself with plenty of cars right up your trumpet looking to try and capitalise on it. So Wadge remains in 5th place. That is Kovkal now making the move up on Wardy. Looks as though he might get that move done on the outside temporarily, but Jack de Menzies is also having a little look into the braking here into Brooklands. That sees Wardy stem them both off, but Jack de Menzies runs a little bit deep. That's going to leave him open to Kovkal. Kovkal moves up into 7th place, and Jack de Menzies now in pressure from Al Axon. right behind. Looks as though he's managed to shut that door before losing out on yet another place. They begin lap 7 now, and it's just all to play for. Meanwhile, let's get back to this action as we just tune in at the right time. Looked as though Wardy was about to make a move up on wide. He actually runs a little bit deep for it, and that's going to allow Jack de Menzies to come on through. Al Axon in tow as well, looking to pick up all the pieces as we see a big mistake there from Jack de Menzies. Looks as though he just the car snapped away from him. That's seen him fall down into 9th place, but we also see Al Axon move up into 7th. Great battle for 5th position this. These drivers are going to be changing places all the way through it. I can already tell. See Al Axon there getting his line a little bit wrong. Runs deep. That allows Kovkarl to come through up into 6th position. Wardy's also fallen back as well. Let's have a look what happened to him. Looks as though he's lost momentum, and Jack de Menzies is actually taking that back, so I wonder if there was a bit of contact between the two. And we can see there Jack de Menzies just behind 7th position at the moment. You can see his bright green Zavima just popping into the background of your screen. Now we can see Kovkarl going defensive here, trying to block the line slightly. All fine on the straights. There'll only be one direction permitted, and that's why we see Waj move up to the inside and Kovkarl barely touch, but then the cars do come together. Waj just needs to be a little bit careful. He's been super aggressive through this, and considering he's got a bit of penalty racked up on the board, he's going to struggle to keep these drivers at bay, or at least keep them out of the stewards' inquiries if he's too aggressive. Looked as though that was well within general touring car standards, but we will wait and see. Looks as though McToasty also recognising that Waj is just losing out that little bit of momentum with his gear ratios coming up to the straights. Let's have a look here actually. Let's go into the chase cam of Kovkarl. Don't usually use the chase cam, but you can see there Kovkarl just able to breeze right through after the slipstream. Waj gets back onto the defensive, but that's going to put him under pressure from Jack de Menzies. He actually makes a great move up into the inside through Luffield there, and Kovkarl's going to do well to hold on to this one. He's going to have to use all of the exit, and Jack de Menzies having a little look up, so it looks as though Kovkarl has got the inside line for Woodcote, and he's got that move done. Great positioning from Kovkarl there, smart driving, and now it looks as though Jack de Menzies up the inside. He takes that position away from Waj. Waj drops down into 7th position, so just in a matter of 2 corners we see Waj losing out on 2 track positions just because of drivers able to use the nous and use the layout of the circuit. So many overtaking opportunities on entrance through the corner and corner exit of this circuit. The console looks as though we've been able to build upon Lecky and his mistake. Looking at his sector times, Lecky does look as though he's recovered them, so he's going to be able to maintain at least position. No serious damage done if he's able to keep up those sort of lap times. But the console moves over to the outside. He's going to try and as we see Lecky there getting very, very sloppy. That looks as though it's big, either let through or a slowdown penalty. So the console moves back up into 3rd place. As I bring up the timing boards, 4 seconds penalty each for both of these two. Waj, meanwhile, 18 seconds. That is huge. That's going to see him drop right down his position. You're going to need to build on that massively if he can. Kovkarl also with a noticeable 10 seconds so far in this race. Get back over to Jack de Menzies and the console. 8 minutes and 55 seconds remaining here. 2 drivers duking it out, trying to get the final podium spot. Trading sector times between the two as we see Jack de Menzies, they're just using the runoff, it seems. Made a big mistake. Just looking down at my telemetry, so I missed that one, but I'm sure the comments will fill me in on what happened. Beg your pardon on that. I just noticed some purple telemetry times coming in. Look back up and all of a sudden Jack's on a track of his own. Let's have a look In fact, on the onboard of Wardy, gives us a good idea about how much these guys are duking it out. All the different changes of position. So at the front of this, we've got Old Smoky, followed by Kovkarl. That's Lecky's Momo ahead. And then Al Axon in the black and green air bubbles, who looks as though he's just about to move up the inside into the braking for Brooklands. See all sorts of changes of position going on throughout all of these sections. So Kovkarl now moves up into 6th place. Al Axon now heading off Lecky. Two very nearly coming together, but Lecky just wise to it, just eases off the steering ever so slightly. He knows that he can get away with it and heads to the inside of Woodcote to try and get the run on Al come the end of the first corner. And as our final drivers cross over the line, let's have a look at those confirmed standings. So Pro Fooby takes the victory. 57.980 is the best lap on there. We will check that out against the other drivers, but I do believe that is going to be a triple crown for Pro Fooby in the form of pole position, fastest lap and the race victory. Spankmeyer finishes in 2nd with Jack de Menzies in 3rd place. Looks as though the console just racked up a little bit too much of a penalty within those final couple of laps and then lost out to it. You can see there though, less than 6/10 difference, half a second difference altogether between the console and Jack de Menzies for that final podium spot. Al Axon in 5th place ahead of Old Smoky. Wardy doing very well in his reserve drive to finish ahead of Lecky in the end, just because Lecky racked up so much of a penalty, it seems. Also, Casey Redwood gets his best finish of the season so far. 8th place for him. Good, consistent drive from Casey Redwood. Kovkarl finishes in 10th, just behind Lecky by around about 5 seconds. So obviously lost out after sticking within that battle for so long. DJ Leggy in 11th place gets the best of his old man, who finishes up in 12th in the BMW. Wadge finishes in 13th place as expected due to the lengthy penalty sustained. In fact, I can just see there 14 seconds worth of penalty is what actually held Kovkarl back. And then Green Gaming finishes at the back of the grid. 14th place from him though, so due to the retirement from Deadly Hawk, he's not at risk of losing out any additional points, but clean race from him, no penalties sustained, so that is definitely a bonus from the Canadian.